Hey guys, welcome. Many viewers have been asking me to do a video and some testing on the new radar system in Star Citizen Alpha 4.7. And indeed, this is a very essential topic. And I have been reading the notes, asking friends, and studying the changelogs, but still cannot get to the end of it. So now, let's go and try to figure this out together. We might not be able to get all of that in one video, but we'll see how far we go today. By reading the patch note regarding radar and detection change, we can find out that the radar is going through one of the biggest changes. But is this the end of it? That's a big question. As the game is in development, I think the radar and the detection system is still in development. But as of right now, for this patch, this is the biggest change. Patch note says this: assigned power now directly affects aim assist range. This applies to both weapon aim assist and ESP. For example, assigning 2 points, which means 2 power pips to your size 1 radar, would set aim assist at 110 meters, while assigning 5 pips to your radar would increase it to 1,105 meters. And this number is only pertain to a specific radar, as we shall see later. Different radar will have different aim assist distance. This range is reflected on your HUD by the distance at which target pips appear, and it changes based on both the radar installed on your ship and the amount of power assigned to it. Now, when I first read this, I have one big question mark in my mind. Why does radar change now directly affect the aim assist range? Does the radar power affect the detection range? The answer is no, which is very strange to me personally, because when you think of a radar change, radar is associated with detection range. So common sense is telling me the more power you assign to a radar, the longer the detection range. And of course, less power, the less the detection range. But this is not that case. Radar power is directly associated with only the aim assist range, which is the weapon pips. So if you don't have enough range, your weapon pips will not show up. So that is why I feel this is a bit strange, but of course, you're playing Star Citizen. Nothing is strange. Nothing should surprise you. So number 1, radar power does not affect detection range, only the aim assist range, which is when your weapon pip will show up. Now let's do a little test in game before we get into more numbers. Okay, first we're gonna do some basic radar detection test. I'm using 2 stock Aurora Mark II. Patch note says radars now require more pips to operate. For the Aurora Mark II, which is a civilian C radar, it already requires 4 pips to operate. Not only that, patch note also said that the activation power remains similar or slightly lower. The activation power is the minimum amount of pips in order to turn the radar on. And for this radar, each square is 1 pip. But for a lot of other radars, sometimes 2 pips becomes 1 square, which means you need at least 2 pips to turn the radar on. Some requires 3 pips to turn it on, especially for bigger size of the radars. For the Aurora radar, this is only a size 1, and it requires only 1 pip to turn the radar on. That's it. Now, my radar is on. But if you don't even want to give 1 pip, then your radar is off. If my radar is off, I cannot ping. I can see the party marker, but I cannot see the ship. I cannot passively detect the ship or anything around me. And you can see in the middle, my radar is off. So that's the activation power, the minimum amount of pips required. Now I just turn it on, and where is the radar in the middle of my ship? I think that's bugged. Now I see the chevron. I can target that ship, I can ping, I can see my surroundings. It's not only in combat you need the radar. You also need the radar to do quantum jumps. So if I don't have any radar power, I cannot do any quantum jump. Oh, what? Okay, I guess this is changed. You don't need the radar to do quantum jumps anymore. If I remember correctly, in the previous patches, sometimes you wonder why I can't make a quantum jump, and then you saw that your radar power is off. But looks like right now we don't need the radar power to do quantum jumps. Okay, good to know. So what if I want to jump to my party member and without radar, I can still target and make quantum jumps. Oh, that's good, because if you're not in combat mode and if you don't want to detect anything, you can simply turn the radar off. But the problem right now is that you can only manage the radar power on your MFD or your engineering terminal. I have checked the key bindings, so maybe I couldn't find it, but usually it's under flight power. And you can set your engine power, decrease or increase, or set to max or set to minimum. You can assign to a different keybind. I have used my throttles to set the keybinds for this. You would have thought that they would add the radar power here for the keybind, but so far I couldn't find it. But I think they're gonna add that later, because we really need that, especially during combat. You can quickly adjust the assigned radar power, but we don't have the keybind yet. Now, as we talked about earlier, that the radar change does not affect the detection range. So let's test that. I am not in combat right now, so I'm just gonna give minimum power to my radar so I can give more power to my engines and then more power to my shield, because I am in defensive mode in case I got attacked. So I'm gonna lower one cooler pip and give it to full shield. I'm gonna drop party so we don't see the party markers. So I'm gonna back away until I don't passively detect the aurora anymore. And 7.5, because it's a size 1 radar, the sensitivity is 80% for EM, so I will lose the radar lock very soon. So back up a little bit, 7.8. There we go, 7.8 is the limit. Right now, I don't see anybody. I don't see any ships over there. So now, if I give full power to my radar, and still, you can see this radar power does not affect detection range. But radar power does affect the target pip range. Now, let's check some numbers. So, Aurora Mark II stock, Capstan, civilian grade C radar, size 1. In here, you can see aim assist max distance is 978 meters. But that's when you give full pip to radar. Watch if I give only one pip to radar, this number will change to 780 meters. So I'm gonna give full pip to radar, 978. Also, we need to check this because I am using the Deadbolt 2 weapon for my loadout. My bullet range can reach 2.3 kilometers. So when you look at the radar target pip range, you also need to balance out with the weapon you're equipping. So for this gun, 2.3 kilometers. However, my maximum pip range is only 980 meters. So at 2 kilometers, if the enemy ship is now moving, I can take a few shots at the enemy ship. Let's see. I'm not gonna use a precision mode. We're gonna do that later. We're just gonna fire a few shots. Oh, I can see the hit marker. I can hit the target just by shooting, but in combat, ships are moving, so it's almost impossible to hit any target in this range. But if you're attacking a ground target, or for example, a ground turret or ground troops, you can definitely shoot without the pip. And now, if you want the aim assist pip, you're gonna have to get to 980 meters. So we move closer. There we go. 978 meters. I see the target pip now. Even at 1 kilometer. Oh, 1 kilometer I can still see it. So I think there is something called buffer. And the buffer is also very important. Here is what the patch note says about the buffer. Aim assist now also includes a retention buffer. Once aim assist has locked onto a target within range, it will remain active for a short additional distance beyond the listed maximum before disengaging, preventing it from flickering on and off during close range maneuvering at the edge of its effective range. And the number for the buffers is also listed under each radar specs. And we're going to be looking at this in detail later in the video. But under the aim assist distance, you have minimum, maximum, and buffer. And this is very important. The rule for the buffer is the better the radar, the worse the buffer. Look at this. Military radar. The buffer is 90. But competition radar, the buffer is 135. So the better the radar, the worse the buffer. Stealth A, buffer is only 90. The industrial ones, the competition ones, has a better buffer. You can see above 1 kilometer, I don't see the pip. So I need to get to really close to that number, 978. Now I can see the target pip. Even if the enemy ship is moving, I can find the target pip and attack the enemy ship. However, if the enemy ship moves out of that range, I would just have to shoot blindly without the target pip's guidance. So this is what it is. And that's with the full power to your radar. And when you give full power to your radar, right now I'm suffering my shield, and so let's see the scenario when I give minimum radar pip, and that's 780 meters, almost 200 meters less. You can see now at 800 meters I'm not able to target, so I have to go really close to that 780 meters. There's a little bit of buffer. Right now at 809 meter I can still target. So this change brings combat to even more close quarter, and you also need to be more conscious about the ship loadout. Now if you're using the ship for combat, you need a better radar. Civilian radar is not gonna cut it, but if you use a military radar, you might have more pips, so that will require you to put a military power plant on it. If you're using military shields, it will take more power. So a whole lot of things that you need to balance that out in regards to the ship components. If you still need more power, then you might need to switch your weapon to some ballistics. So that is why I say this radar change in this patch is very important, and it changes a lot of things, especially how you do combat. Next test, we are going to change this radar to a military C radar. And this radar requires 5 pips to operate. And the minimum is 910 meters. The maximum aim assist is 1,105 meters. And another change for the radar is that I know they have been physicalized for quite a while, but the radars can now be detached and attached physically with your tractor beam, especially the size 1 radars. Wait, what? I am not able to do that. I thought all the size 1 radars can be physically detached. So this is the cooler, I can detach it. And I am not able to change the radar, even though I am prepared. I got a military C radar here on the ship. So you can see I can tractor this one. It's physicalized, you can see it. However, I am not able to switch it. So definitely a working in progress. We should be able to physically swap the radars, right? But for the Aurora Mark II, we cannot. Or a different angle? Nope, I've tried multiple angles. It's not working. Forget about it. I will just have to go by the radar. Before we leave this testing field, there are a few things I want to test out. The next thing is regarding sub-targeting and precision mode. So still civilian C radar, and I'm gonna give full power to radar. Now I'm entering precision mode. And the precision mode in this patch is really good. Because once you enter the precision mode, you don't have to move your cursor to the component or the weapon of the enemy ship. You see every single subcomponent highlight. So components here, and you can see the guns here. What is this piece here? Oh, that's a engine, and you see the quantum drive on top. So they are highlighted white. So right now I have full pip to radar. I'm gonna back away, and let's see how far I can see the highlight for the sub-targeting. And by the way, to sub-target, simply press the keybind R, ritual R. So when your cursor aiming at a component or a weapon, while it's highlighted, press R. Now you can see once you leave that weapon, it's still sort of highlighted for you. So if I press R for this engine, once I leave, you can see that's still highlighted. Now to unsub-target, press left Alt R. And now you don't see that highlight anymore. So R and left Alt R to sub-target and untarget. So back away now. I can still see the sub-targeting thing. It's actually quite far to... I think it's the same range as your aim assist pip distance. So once I pass that threshold, now you can see I don't have the white highlight anymore, meaning I cannot sub-target the ship. If I press R, oh, never mind. So on my top right corner, you still see the sub-targeting color change. First it blinks red, and then it turns green. And that's the part that you are sub-targeting. However, you don't have the aim assist, but you can shoot a missile at it. So this radar change does not affect how far you can sub-target a component, but it does affect the highlight. So when I move closer, you can see the highlight. But of course, the further away, it's harder to see. I can see the highlight if I target that, and then I move close, you can see that has been sub-targeted. And if I give minimum pip to my radar, my aim assist now down to 780 meters. Precision mode, you still can see the highlights at this distance. Now once you pass that threshold, you can still see the highlight. But it's really hard to see. For a moving ship, it's almost impossible to sub-target. So sub-targeting is not affected by this. But the precision mode does get affected by this, the aim assist. Because if you get away from that distance, you can see we don't see the green pip anymore. So once I get closer to 780 meters, and now you see that aim assist. You see the green pips. That's the aim assist. So that's how the new radar system affects the precision mode and sub-targeting. Last thing I want to test here is missiles. So I'm using EM missiles, not cross-section, so it's easier to target. And by the way, I think the EM missiles is better in this patch, because the IR for a lot of ships are really low. So IR missiles is hard to lock enemy ships. And cross-section missiles you have to ping to lock. So EM missiles in general is easier to use. If you're new to Star Citizen, try to use EM missiles. So I'm using EM Pioneer 1. And that's not affected by my radar.
Target acquired.
Target acquired at 2.4 kilometers.
Target acquired. Target acquired.
Oh, okay. I found another thing. So, another change is that some players like to sub-target and then shoot a missile, which will increase the hit chance. But in normal targeting mode, like right now, if I press R, I am not sub-targeting anything. You don't see target lock anymore because it's not re-targeting. However, at this range, if I go to precision mode and then press R,
Target acquired.
you can hear target acquired.
Target acquired. Target acquired.
So every time you hear this is because I sub-targeted a part of the enemy ship, so the missile relocked.
Target acquired.
So if you want to sub-target and shoot a missile beyond that range, you really need to go to precision mode.
Target acquired. Target acquired.
Okay, I targeted an engine of that ship. I'm gonna fire one missile. Fire.
Check fire.
Oh, that's a hit. Fire another missile. Oh, it sort of hit the engine part. Oh. Lot of hits. But wow, the missile damage is really not great as before. I did a video yesterday. The size 1 missile's damage has been nerfed by half, so it's really not a lot of damage to the enemy ship, but I really want to kill Luke. So this radar change changed the combat. You really have to get close to the enemy ship in order to use the aim assist. Now, I just killed him. And you also need to balance out with the range of your guns. But most of the radar aim assist range is way lower than the range for your guns. Alright, it's time to crunch some numbers.